Happy New Year's! Happy New Year to you and you. Happy New Year to you, Gary, with no eyebrows.
Oh, straight in with that. I can't believe.
If you're not, jump onto YouTube and check out Gary's New Year of all his hair.
A little mistake, listeners.
What did you say it was? The clean, just total gone. It's all off, he said.
It was just the metal from all over.
Gone total.
Everything, back, sack and
gone.
crack. Yeah, gone.
Really?
No, not really. Just from the neck. Just from the neck up. I did it before. Oh, God. I did it before and it wasn't so aggressive. But no, I've never. Yeah, I have done that actually. Yeah, everything. But that's another podcast. That's Patreon. Yeah,
yeah, that's super Patreon content.
But yeah, the first time I did the eyebrows, it wasn't quite as aggressive as it is this time. But literally, it's not such a good look. So it will go back.
It's a lovely
eventually.
Look. I just think you need eyebrows to sort of when you're.
Well, yeah, especially when you've got all that look going on too.
I mean, it's easy maintenance. Do you ever need to shower?
Well, yeah, I just use soap for everything. There's no shampoo. I don't need any of that. No conditioner. It's wild.
Cheap, it's effective, and it's good for the environment. It's a new year at Tea and Trails Towers, and it's a new script. We have freshened up. We've freshened up.
Well, why is it a new script, Eddie?
Not my choice. We have this Google spreadsheet we share, and it was a bit loaded, Gary. It was a bit low. There was a lot of stuff. It was going back years and years, notes of us to each other, and somehow it's just.
You thought you deleted.
I don't know how. It's not in the trash. It literally has disappeared. Gary has been so good because it also has a lot of accounts. It has everything on there and it's all disappeared. So he's had to redo it. But Gary's like that co-worker in the office that just smiles and goes, that's okay. I'll just get it done. So
I apologize though. I'm pretty sure a few 5-star reviews and maybe even a Tales from the Trails might have gone.
Oh, Lord above.
Missing.
Okay, so if you've sent something in, you might want to resend. We apologise, but maybe it's a good thing. Fresh start, no old grievances, no notes on. Eddie, you still haven't replied to that. You still haven't done that. And we just start afresh.
Passive-aggressive notes. Yeah, Happy New Year. We both hope you had an awesome holiday. Some people do work over the Christmas period. Yeah, if you're one of those people, then I salute you. That has got to be tough. And also, for some people, Christmas is a struggle. Fingers crossed it wasn't too challenging.
Episode 53. This week we chat with Aaron Robinson. He's run over 380 marathons now. He's been busy running a marathon a day all of last year with his 2 dogs, and he's showing no signs of stopping. Also, we have Brew with the Coaches, Tales from the Trails, and we pop over to Strava. Plus, we share how our Christmases were. Did Father Christmas come to Gary? Thank you to Precision Fuel and Hydration for sponsoring this week's show. So much knowledge over at precisionhydration.com. We shout about it every week, but go over there, check out their knowledge hub. You might have entered a 100-miler, a multi-day event, your first ultra, anything, like the Dragon's Back, Road Trail Marathon, anything. You need electrolytes, you need fuel in your life. There's case studies, there's Gary's case studies. There might be something similar to your goal race, or you might just like to read how people fuel. It's really inspiring to see how some people fuel. Or you might just want to check out their handy fuel and hydration planner.
I would check somebody else's case study out. I think mine was it a 3 or a 2 out of 5? The
check out Robin.
Accuracy of the check out. But yeah, super stoked that Precision Fuel and Hydration is our main show sponsor, and we've said it quite a few times. Even if they weren't a sponsor, we would definitely recommend you jump on a call with one of their sports scientists. And yeah, super awesome. Patrons get 15% off, and anyone can get 15% off their first order with the code T, as in a cup of tea, 24. That's all caps, super simple, T 24. The weekly dates time. Who wants to go first? Go on, you go first. Spill the beans. I bet you've had a super busy, family-filled Christmas.
Yeah, because for 2 weeks, got 2 weeks of deets. Had mum and dad to stay. Such a lovely time. Had to stop dad listening to the podcast while he was here. I said, you can just talk to me, Dad. You get the live show. Hi, Dad. Love you. Thanks for listening. A little bit. He said 2 things. He had 2 evaluations for us, Gary, 2 reviews.
Okay.
He said, I've got to stop swearing. Do I swear a lot on the podcast?
I think you don't have the potty
Said
mouth.
your language is terrible. And I
Oh my
thought,
goodness me. Was it not your pronunciation of vocabulary? Not your swear, not your potty
oh,
mouth.
maybe he meant my accent has generally slipped and I should be speaking more of the English. And he said, I interrupt you far too much. You should let Gary talk more. So
Oh
there
no. I'm quite happy.
Thanks, Dad. Always positive. Anyway, yeah, we had a lovely Christmas, Mum and Dad. Unfortunately, we didn't have a ton of snow. We had rain, but then we had cold. We had cold. It was lovely, full on. With the kids ski training. They do their main ski training over the Christmas holidays. It's a lot for them. They do a lot of skiing. Bryn and I don't get to do any skiing because we just spend our time driving them, because they're all at different times, driving them up and down to drop them off, feed them, bring them back, dry their kit, tired children, repeat.
I bet they go back to school more pooped than when they left school.
Exhausted.
Yeah.
They go back to school for rest. So, yeah, training wise, slowly building back the running. But I mean, it is not good. We have not got a ton of snow. So the snow's not good for skiing and it's not good for running. It's just ice. It's at that time. This is normally how it is, like in November. Normally now there's snow, my tracks are pisted. Can start getting, literally got about a mile and a half worth of runnable track outside my house. And I can't really even run down into town because there's just people everywhere. It's so dangerous. Like just our little road that's a no-through road, people driving like maniacs. It's just not a pleasant place to be at the moment. Anyway, everyone will go back soon next week. So I've slowly built back up the running. I've been really good with my strength training. I didn't let that drop over Christmas, building up the weights again, been on my turbo a ton. And once the kids go back to school next week, I will get back on my skis to get some longer sessions. The knee has just gone. So
wow.
I know. Lots of foam rolling, lots of strength, lots of biking over running, lots of walking, and that sort of, when you just forget about it. And I'm like, oh, I forgot.
That's the point. Yeah, I do like that.
But I'm going to carry on with while the snow's not really good enough to do much skiing. It's amazing up high, but I just don't have the time. You need like 3 hours to get up there. I'm going to carry on with the turbos. And also the turbos are so good for like an hour. You can beast yourself on the bike, and it's so different to beasting yourself for an hour on your legs. It's really tiring when you're doing it, but then I don't feel so tired. Nowhere near as tired as if I did an hour super hard session.
Yeah, I feel like the same even on the treadmill. It doesn't have the same kind of impact as the road. So I come off the treadmill a lot, feeling better.
Yeah, you don't have the downhill as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, back to running. I'm trying to get like 5 to 6 miles running in daily. It's a bit tricky at the moment because I can't get 5 to 6 miles running. I should go on the treadmill, but it's like my half an hour, 40 minutes, an hour where just get a bit of, there's nobody and it's quiet and I get the dogs out. So I just keep struggling around the ice. And
I was unsure because this time of year, similar to you in the Dean, it's so muddy that I couldn't even really do a fartlek and keep safe because I'd just be slipping over all the time. So yeah, do I this time of year lean quite heavily on the treadmill to do those sessions? I always feel because they're a bit easier too. You don't have the resistance of the terrain and the wind, etc. So I don't want to feel like it's a cop out, but yeah, just to get that work done, maybe it's treadmill time.
Yeah. I just don't feel ready to switch yet. I feel like I'm still coming back into training again. So I feel like I don't really feel I need to go next week. Yeah, I will go one session on the bike, one session on the treadmill probably. But at the moment, I just kept it all on the quite low, just focusing on strength, getting myself hedged. The other thing I've been really enjoying is my yoga and my Pilates, and I'm going to keep that doing. So there's not Adriana, she's back in I love her. She's back in my life and Bryn's life. Yeah, so not like I turned my Strava off for a little bit, just basically because I couldn't be bothered to record everything. Started recording stuff again. I'm at a bit of a like, do I even want to record stuff? You'll love it. You love recording Miles and Vert and stuff. And I'm
what? It all goes on there. I think I just don't turn off the ability to sync it. It just goes on there because it's synced to Garmin. I thought it was really refreshing. We talked to Simon Roberts last night, and yeah, breath of fresh air. Some of it goes on, some of it doesn't. He's on his turbo.
Quite often I don't have my watch on and I forget my watch and I just Strava it on my phone. And so I don't look at anything while I'm running. I just go out and look at the
trigger me.
Yeah, lovely Christmas. Oh, shall I give you a little top some top Christmas presents. I
Yeah.
had now I haven't got my t-shirt on just because it's a little bit chilly for t-shirts right now. But when I next see you, I shall be wearing. I had a lovely gift all the way.
Yay.
So thoughtful. That was so thoughtful for you. Thank you. I had Danielle's book and I had a tea and my first bit of Tea and Trails t-shirt merch. And as soon as I can get my arms out in this cold winter, I'll be wearing it. That was really kind of you. Thank you. Got
You're welcome.
lovely from Bryn. I started wearing them, and Gary, my ears are so sensitive. I can only wear real gold earrings, otherwise they get infected. And I wore them yesterday, and I already lost one.
Oh my goodness,
What
Eddie,
now?
you shouldn't be allowed to put things in
I
your
shouldn't be
ears.
allowed expensive stuff, Gary. I shouldn't be allowed AirPods and earrings, things in my ears. Anyway, so I couldn't find it. I looked at it. It came off in our bedroom while I was getting dressed. And this is much more interesting than any training I've been doing. And I looked everywhere. Then I got all small children up with good eyesight to look. We could not find it anywhere. So Bryn was at work. When he came back in the evening, I was like, do I fess up and say I've lost it? What I mean, or do I just never mention them? And is he ever going to say you never wear the earrings? And I was like, I should say.
He might find it, so you had to fess up. Yeah.
Went down. I was like, those earrings you gave me for Christmas. How expensive were they? I thought maybe they weren't that expensive, and so then we don't need to worry like quite so much. And he was like, nah. He didn't give me anything else. I was like, look, it's come out of my ear. I've got the back. I know it's somewhere in this zone. We went up, we looked everywhere, Gary. We took because it was like by my, ladies' dressing tables. I've got all these little pots of little bits
I don't like that.
Little bits everywhere. And so we took everything apart. It took everything out of the bin everywhere. No, so all under the bed. I was like, this needs a good clean. And lifted the mattress. Took the sheet off the bed. We did everything. Couldn't find it. We had to then go and record that podcast. And I was like, it's got to be somewhere. It's got to be there. And Bryn was like, don't worry, it'll turn up. Anyway, we went to go up to bed. On our bed was the earring.
Oh, I'm glad that was a good news story. I was getting really stressed out.
I was like, how? We'd taken everything off the bed. We put everything back on the bed. And there it was, just in the middle of the bed. Anyway, I found it, but I'm not wearing them for every day now, Gary. I can't be trusted with anything over €5, basically.
I bought a nice car once years and years and years ago, and I found myself like parking in the far end of the supermarket. And I just thought,
I do that anyway with our cars because I've had a few. If you go back catalogs, I've had a few instances with the car. So now I'm always like, extra walking, guys. I'm not going in that car. Anyway, yeah, we're moving forward. Eyes are starting to move forward. We'll talk next week. We'll talk a little bit more about next year and how I'm going to do my training. But this just getting through the last few days of the holidays. You'll hear me, mums and dads. You'll hear me. Let's just get through that before we try and do anything mega. What about you? Not sticking to the plan. Kel surprise everybody.
No, that's positive. I think I did have, because the training plan had started, and I did something every week. I did my 5 times 5 minutes. I did a long run. I think the first week of Christmas was 75 miles in total with about 7,000 feet of elevation. So did some strides too. So yeah, long run, quality session, some strides, decent amount of mileage. The second week was 60 miles against 7,000 feet with 5 times 5 minutes again. The recoveries dropped to 1 minute. So you're not getting a lot of rest in between those 5 minutes, or 15% on the treadmill. I really like that, but I do feel maybe I'm hiding behind the hill as far as kind of exposing how quick or how slow I'm currently running. Long run, and we did a half marathon actually on New Year's Eve, Newcastle Town Moor half marathon, and I really, because you just kind of pulled me up on my rubbish threshold run, so basically he called me out. So with that half marathon, I did 1 lap easy, 1 lap at goal marathon pace, and then 1 lap easy again. Lovely run with the Sedgefield Harriers guys. They came over to Castle Dean, did the 12 hills of Castle Dean. That was really nice. So yeah, running wise, okay, I think for Christmas. I'm not going to, stress too much about, because everybody's around with family, so you don't want to be buggering off too much if possible. But I hit the chocolate hard. Very generous and very kind of you. But the purple quality streets, oh wow, it was like Superman is kryptonite. I
had one in your honor, Gary. I like it. I ate it because it was like, I'm going to eat it.
You
Gary,
salute Gary.
it's like really, the chocolate's not good.
Oh, I thought it was sensational.
Okay, well, good. You can have it next time.
I just couldn't stop. I couldn't stop popping. So yeah, we had a chocolate. It felt like a chocolate orgy and a biscuit orgy. Too much treats. We did have a trip on Christmas Eve. We went to Beamish. Do you remember Beamish for your time up north?
Remind me.
Open air museum from, I suppose it is northeast history. So they've got Victorian street, farms, mining villages and stuff like that. But what they have done...
Oh my God, yes. And I remember the rubber I got from there as well, from the gift shop.
Oh, okay. I don't know where that was going. So yeah, what was I going to say? Yeah, so now they built a 1950s street. There's a cafe in Wingate called Johnny's Cafe, which I probably spent 3/4 of my childhood in that place. And they took the tables out, all the wood paneling, the marble tables, and they rebuilt it in Beamish. So I could go to Johnny's Cafe for an ice cream and stuff like that. And initially I thought it would be wonderful. And if I searched long enough, I'm pretty sure I could see my name scratched into the wood or the marble tables somewhere. I'm pretty sure I must have graffitied it. But when I go to a museum, say if I go to York Viking Centre or maybe the British Museum, this history has happened long before I've been alive or born. So I'm quite comfortable with that. But Beamish really triggered me because I was sitting in my history and I really didn't enjoy it.
That's really funny because Bryn and I have just finished watching The Crown.
Yeah.
And we didn't enjoy but like we really enjoyed the early years of the series. Then when it got to bits where we were around and we remembered it and we remembered where we were when things happened, and we got quite morose and a bit like we're sitting in your like memories and your history, and it felt like awkward watching it because you felt like you were, I don't know, but it's probably a bit of the same feeling as well.
It was very novelty. As I was queuing up to go in the shop, I was full of this curiosity, like, oh, I remember this, and the layout was pretty similar. But yeah, after about 10 minutes, I'm like, I've had enough. And then Lisa dragged me in this 1950s house, which was just basically my grandma's house. And again, I was just like getting battered from all angles. I couldn't wait to get out at the end of the day. But yeah, Beamish is wonderful, actually. And just loads of family time, family games, Uno, Monopoly Deal.
Tell me, answer me this, okay. Gary. Can you put +2 down and then have to pick up 4, +4?
Oh, no, I think you can't. So you do a 2, 2, and then a 4.
No, so you get, you can put the same card down twice. So you can put 2 8s, 2 6s, 2 4s. So if you put 2 +2s down, does that mean then the person?
Oh, we don't do that. We don't do the 2. We don't do the double up on cards.
Oh.
Oh yeah, we just play Esme's rules. Whatever she says goes. Right? She's the only one that can be bothered to read them. But yeah, loads of family.
Evie has taken to keeping Uno in her ski jacket, and then literally every spare second, she's like, "We're at a car park. It's a bit stressful. There's no spaces. There's ambulances. There's people." She's like, "Quick game of Uno." I'm like,
yes.
Not right now.
I do love it. Monopoly Deal, though, I think that's my favourite because you can crush people with Monopoly Deal.
Is that with the cards? Is that a bit quicker?
Yeah, it's super quick version of Monopoly. Okay. I do enjoy
when the kids are like, can we play Monopoly? I'm like,
oh, it's always gone, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, what else happened to me? George got a punch bag, but it wasn't for Christmas, but we erected it over Christmas time. And wow, I think I go to the gym once or twice a week. I run every day. The DOMs I had after punching that punch bag for what was 5 minutes was quite insane.
We had a family sledge, and the DOMs I had after that family sledge of running down.
Wild.
Oh, it's wild. These people that do these extreme sports.
And I did, I mentioned what happens when your heart rate variability goes to the other side of the dial? Well, I had that. Okay. It went all the way around to the orange on the other side. We need someone who knows about heart rate variability, someone from Garmin or Chorus or whoever it is that have these devices. But the feedback that Garmin Connect gave me was the same feedback as if the heart rate variability was too low. It didn't say, it just said more recovery. It didn't say, oh, well, you're ill, this or that.
Well, it's out of that spectrum. You've got that spectrum that it should be in that middle, and too high and too low are indicators that something is not right. Yeah,
but I thought it would have indicated something else being too high. But
it's not necessarily the higher the HRV, the better it is. Is that
no? Basically, no. Yeah, because it's amber,
I think it
green.
is saying your sugar levels are so off the scale now that it's actually affecting your heart rate.
Oh God, made me feel sick eating so many quality streets and celebrations. It was, yeah, I'm such a greedy. I'm still going with the beer. I'm still drinking beer, but I'm off the sugary treats. Yeah, need to tidy things up. I think that's it. I did. This is totally. I don't know where this is going to go. Actually, YouTube teases me with content now and again, and one of the bits of content it gave me was there's the difference between your index finger and your ring finger can relate to your how much testosterone you're exposed to as a child in the womb, and basically could relate to your penis size. So I can't remember which round it is, but I'm fascinated. If anybody knows, well, it'd be different for you regarding penis size.
Yes, hopefully. Is this something you want to talk about? Is this something you're feeling?
Well, normally, these things happen because you've been having a conversation with somebody about something.
Exactly. Now my phone is listening. Oh my God.
But I was talking to Lisa about this. I'm like, I really don't know why YouTube's suggesting. Maybe I've watched something else. And then it's suggesting that maybe Gary would be tempted by this. And yes, Gary was tempted by this, and I clicked it and watched it. So yeah, if you're out there, check the size of your index and ring finger. Maybe gives a bit more information than you would like to share with the general public. New Year's resolutions. Are you big on resolutions?
How do you improve perfection? I mean, there's so little area in my life where I could do better. No, I mean, every day I think I'll try and be a better person. I'll try and do more. I'm going to keep up with things. I'm definitely going to keep up my very limited social media exposure. I like that. I will keep doing that. I'm going to keep on with the strength work, keep on with everything. I can't think any time in my life where I can actually add anything else to my life. Maybe try and be a nicer person, less judgy, less rage, less road rage. Having a lovely holiday. Get off my road. What about you?
Well, I'm pretty steady. I don't really stray from the path. So there's nothing I do to excess in any direction, really. But yeah, I think I've reflected back. I think I could be, I don't want to go into too much, but I think I could be I think I could do better certain aspects of my life. Be a bit more present with my friends and family. I think that would be good. And maybe read a bit more or read it all. That would be a start.
You have to have your book somewhere where you'll pick it up. Like I've got one in the car for when I'm just sitting in the car, one by my bed, one by the sofa. So I normally have 2 to 3. Yes. Then I pick them up and I'm like, now, what's this one about again? Let me just remember.
Well, I do read quite a lot, but just not a physical book. So that would be nice to do that.
Yeah. It's nice to hold a book rather than your phone.
Well, I got my Arnie book, so I need to start reading that.
You got your...
Yes.
Save it. Yeah, you read it. I'd like to read that after you.
Oh, I've enjoyed our little catch up, Eddie. But should we go and see what the coach is up to? This week, we have a question from Patreon, Mark Smitheram. I wish every email I received in my inbox started with, "Hi, hero legend Gary." Yeah, hi, hero legend Gary. We were so excited to watch your adventure on the Dragon's Back race. It was really inspiring. Oh, thanks, Mark. I live in Cornwall, and I've done our local Archimetrician 100-mile race last couple of years, but within 30 minutes of finishing the race, my legs no longer want to work. I can only manage a stiff leg shuffle to the car to be driven home. My question is, how do you train yourself to go from where I am to manage days of running like in the Dragon's Back race? For me, I'm not coached. I think I've said it. I know Eddie says that she coaches me, but for me, it's
affiliation link there.
But for me, it was never mindful, like I'm going to train myself for the mountains. It was just an evolution and years of dedication to the cause, really. It started with Hardmoors, local to me. Then it moved over to like Lakeland 50, Lakeland 100, something a bit more mountainous. And then I went on this Bob Graham round journey, which took me to the high fells. Crikey, it must have, I look back, it probably is a 2016, I think I did. Probably about 2015, I started hitting the trails. So you're looking at an 8-year journey to get to there. And I remember I've been that guy who's had crazy DOMs, shuffled back to the car after races. And luckily, yeah, just years and years of hitting the mountains. Like, Trish, before Dragon's Back race, I asked that question myself quite a lot. Will I be able to run the next day? But just best part of a decade of running up and down hills made it surprisingly okay. So no magic, no secret sauce, just lots of kind of dedication to those high fells. And also, you can hit the treadmill, I suppose, to get the elevation. But then in return, you'll probably neglect the condition of the quads because you don't run back down again. But nothing sexy, just running up and down mountains for 8 years. That's basically what I did.
Always sexy, Gary. Always sexy. We've seen your YouTube videos.
Slow motion on my butt and groin this week.
Oh, you're nauseous. Yeah.
Oh, thanks. What about you, Trish? How did you get ready for the Dragon's Back race?
So I would say the Dragon's Back is much more accessible than people think it is, as long as you do the work. So it's a good caveat there. But fundamentally, you've pretty much done, the Arc of Attrition 100-mile race. It's a tough race. It's a hard race.
Yeah.
Fundamentally, you need to
do that. Mark, Gary couldn't do the Arc 100. So
those Dunes of June. Dooms of Doom? Doom?
You can't even say it.
I know.
Key is getting mileage in. You've got to get mileage in your legs. And I'm not saying heavy, fast mileage, but you've got to condition your legs. And that's good. Again, coming back to that really base level, you've got to do lots of base work. And that might be walking in the hills, but you've got to get that mileage in your legs. You've got to get the elevation. Doesn't have to be sexy stuff, like Gary said. Okay. It can just be big days on the hill at a nice, easy pace. And that's what it should be for the vast majority of your Dragon's Back training. The next thing is consistency. You've got to be consistent doing that. You can't do a big weekend and then not do anything for a week. You've got to be consistent from when you decide you're going to invest to when the race is. Be consistent throughout that time. And that's how you build up. Like Gary was saying, it's 8 years to kind of get to that point where he is now. Similar journey to myself. It doesn't just come overnight. You've got to have that mileage in your legs. The only way you're going to do that is by being consistent, getting out there, building up the mileage slowly. And then the next thing I would say, which is quite important, and I've done a few years of Dragon's Back now and been involved in it. And the people generally who don't make it are the ones who aren't lean. And if you're coming with any weight on you into Dragon's Back, you're going to suffer. You can't come into Dragon's Back and have lots of timber, basically, because you're going to have to be pushing down a relative pace. Everything you're carrying when you're doing elevation is hard. Okay. So you're going to be carrying a pack and you'll be carrying yourself. Okay. So you add up that weight. The vast majority of people I see who don't succeed are carrying more weight because they're not run fit. You've got to be run fit. You've got to be able to be, going out running and doing some kind of speed sessions as well to improve your running economy. If you're carrying a bit of weight, I would say you've got to be run fit. You've got to be lean and ready for the mountains, mountain lean. And that can seem like quite a harsh thing to say to people, but it's true. It's a hard race and you've got to be as efficient as possible to do it. So do the base work, get run fit, get the mileage in, and if you manage your pace appropriately, you will get there. You can do the Dragon's Back race, but you've got to do those principles.
We're not talking, I'm quite lean, but I'm not Kipchoge lean. So
not like that.
We're not on about 3% body fat. It's,
not anything stupid like that. Thanks for clarifying that, Gary. It was like
everyone on the Dragon's Back start. You just need to be your version of fit, whatever that is. You just need to feel strong. Yeah. And if you do the work, your body will naturally, we're not talking about going on a diet. We're not talking about calorie restriction.
No, definitely not.
Your body will become the shape it's meant to be. If it goes right, so in the winter when I ski loads, my thighs get bigger because I don't do anything different. I'm doing a different sport. The body reacts going, we need more muscular quads. In the summer, they become less muscular. That might be to do with the tarty flat that I have up the hills as well. But hey, remember as well, the mindset. So going into 100-mile race, your finish is at the end. So of course your body's going to go, da da. You have reached the finish. Do not pass go. It is bedtime. We can stop. When you reach the end of day one on Dragon's Back, immediately you're going, I'm going to get ready for day two. You're telling yourself you're going to get ready. Nobody is going to start day two going, woo, this is great. I feel great. Off I go. The first few miles are going to be painful. That's going to increase as the days go on. But it's amazing when you do a multi-day. It's when you think you get up, if you're camping or whatever, and you think, nope, I cannot do this. I cannot even get my pants on. That when you start moving around, you have breakfast. And then when you start the race, you start moving always within an hour, the body goes, it's like a teenager. Oh, okay, we're doing this. I've got no choice. I'm warmed up. I'm going again. One of the big things you can do, Mark, is find lots of little multi-days or make your own multi-days and get used to that feeling of when you get up, it feels like a hangover, an exercise hangover. You're dehydrated, you're calorie deficient, your legs are sore, and you've got to go again. Create that at home or there's loads of companies that do 2-3 multi-days and reassure yourself, get used to that feeling, get the legs used to that feeling, dial in that multi-day pace. Different to a 100-miler, but the strength you've shown at the Arc, if you can do that's really one of the toughest 100-milers in the UK. If you can do that mental strength, you need to do that. You can do the Dragon's Back, just a little bit of preparation. If Gary can do it, buddy, you can do it. Anybody can do it.
I remember I had DOMS. I did a long run at the Lake District, and it was prep for Lake 100, and I came off that with DOMS and thinking, how the hell am I going to do the Dragon's Back race? And yeah, like you say, 100-miler. Again, I remember doing, I think it was the Princess Challenge hard moors. And I got the legs stiffened up and cramp coming into Ravenscar, and the race hadn't even finished. So it's awesome that he's actually finishing these races. Then he's getting the DOMS. But yeah, best of luck, Mark.
Thanks for your question, Mark. And if you are a patron, have a question, email it to us at hello@teaandtrails.com. We've got the coaches all with our cups of tea next week. And Dr. Rebecca, last time she felt a little bit left out because we didn't have enough medical questions. So perhaps if it's something...
I'm going to ask her my index. No. Is that a bit too much for the first?
Let's get that as soon as we get on the Zoom. Straight away, don't even say hello. Just show her the size and ask her if it's normal. But if you've got something maybe relating to injury, to hydration, to cramps, to recovery, to strange growths, Rebecca loves it all. So yeah, hello@teaandtrails.com is the email if you've got any questions.
Before Christmas, we had the pleasure of sharing the mics with record-breaking marathon runner Aaron Robinson, or my crazy collies over on Instagram. Another example of a humble human being doing something extraordinary. Thanks for coming on the Tea and Trails podcast, Aaron. My goodness me, what a year you were having. A marathon a day for the past year with your two border collies, Inca and River. Is that correct? I just want to take a pause, listeners. Let that sink in. That is, and you know, both do quite a few miles during the week, but yeah, a marathon a day for the past year. Unbelievable. And I've got to say, you need to go to Aaron's Strava. It is a thing of beauty. Your weekly mileage bars, it's just absolutely wild. Yeah, thanks for joining us today, Aaron.
No, thank you for having me.
We ask all our guests, though, and I think I know the answer to one of these questions. But yeah, where are you? What's the view from your window? And it is a silly question because I've been over to Strava already and checked. But yeah, have you been for a run today?
So I'm in East London. I don't know what's outside my window. I'm a bit scared to check. And yeah, I have done a marathon this morning.
Wow, unbelievable. In East London, I live quite rural, so it's quite easy for me to hit the trails. Yeah, what is running like for you if you weren't doing a marathon every day?
So although I said East London, it's near the border or close to the border of Essex. It's quite near Epping Forest. So actually, if I run north from my house, it doesn't feel like I'm in London at all. So we've got kind of deer, cows. It feels quite outside of London.
I suppose when you're doing these marathons, we'll get into that later, but maybe your runs now are quite repetitive. I'm just curious here what a commute run would be like for yourself, say if you run to the office. office?
The office is in Manchester and I'm in London, so I don't want to do that.
There's a few canals, yeah.
Yeah. I had to go into the office the other week, so that meant getting up at 1:30 to do my marathon, then get the train to Manchester and get back late. Like running a marathon every day for a year, I think the hardest part is not actually the running, it's the fitting your life around it. And that's something I never really considered before I started that. It's the lack of social life, the getting to, whether it's weddings or whatever else, it's getting to the office when it's so far away. All of that stuff has been harder to deal with than, say, having sore legs. So yeah, that's the tough part. It's the life admin as well. It's not just running a marathon, it's doing it while going to work, while doing everything else.
Functioning, that must
Trying
be
to,
hard.
yeah.
Can we rewind a little bit? We've got heaps of questions to ask you about this challenge that you're doing, but can we rewind before the challenge? And can you tell us a little bit about your story, your background as a runner?
Yeah, so I did a couple of ultra marathons. One of the first ones I did actually was, I think it was about an 83-mile run. It was in winter across the Norfolk coast. It was like one of these sunset to sunrise runs where you've got to get in before the sun comes up. It was one of my first ultra marathons, so I was kind of not very prepared, and the battery in my watch stopped about 50 miles. My sense of direction is awful. Like we take maps with us, but I can't read maps. So I was basically stuck at 50 miles and I didn't know what to do. So I thought the only thing I can do is wait for the next person to come along, and which I did. And I asked her, look, explain the situation. Can I go with you? That person was called Mandy. I always get her surname wrong. Foister. You had her on your show. She's the woman that ran the 200-mile tunnel, and her vision went blind a little bit temporarily. Yeah. She loves sheep. I think she was working at a sheep sanctuary or volunteering. Yeah. One of the most lovely women I've met. She really took care of me. She gave me her gloves when I was like shivering, and we spent about 7 hours together, a mix of like running and walking. This is one of my first ultra marathons, and we got to the end. We came joint last, but also joint 19th because most people dropped out. It was a really tough ultra marathon, and she just took care of me. And I was thinking, often your experience of the first ultra marathon can kind of say a lot. And if I'd have dropped out then because my battery had gone, I don't know if I'd have done another one. But one of my first experiences is of this wonderful person supporting me, helping me. I think she was training for the spine actually in that race because she had this huge backpack on, like this Bergen. For me, like that, it was a tough race anyway, but she was making it ultra tough with this huge rucksack on. So yeah, to hear her on your podcast, I think that was Run to the Hills, and to hear as well that she was the first woman to complete the Tunnel 200-mile ultramarathon. One, I'm just incredibly happy that she was able to do that, but also like it's those stories. It's not always the people that win UTMB. It's just the absolute champions and people who push themselves. And she actually, both her kindness and her grit actually inspired me to keep doing ultramarathons. So Mandy, if you're listening, or anyone that knows her, thank you very much for your kind of one of the reasons why I'm doing this today, I guess. So thank you.
I couldn't think of a nicer person to scoop me up and save my marathon. I often say to Eddie, there's radiators and there's drains. And my goodness, Mandy Foister is one of life's radiators. She actually reached out because she received a snooch. She's a Patreon, Mandy. So Mandy will be listening to this. She was like, I'm not too sure if I'm supposed to have this, but thanks anyway. So I was like, no, thank you for supporting the podcast.
Put it on the sheep. Yeah. Send us a picture.
That's a lovely story.
Amazing story. Gosh, love it.
I love the fact that you can still do well in an ultramarathon, even if you're not fast, but if you're kind of gritty, I suppose, and you just keep going. And I think that's what appealed to me a little bit. And again, just like everyone else, you finish it, you think, there's no way I'm doing that again. 2 days later, you've signed up to 3 more. And that, I've heard it for other people. That was the same as for me as well. I just love, I think, the challenge of it a little bit. I like that it's hard. The harder it is, the more I like the race. And if there's something I can do raising money for my charity and getting my dogs involved, because I'm a huge dog lover, why not do that? So my dogs are upset anyway if I do a race without them. So you can't be rude and leave them at home the whole time. So if I can take my dogs with me and do something I love, which is running, and make it challenging, why not do it? So yeah, that's what I'm doing.
I bet that's one of James at Centurion's most asked questions. Can I bring my dog? Can I bring my dog? Can I bring my dog? Tell us a little bit about your day job. You touched on that your office is in Manchester. What do you do? What do you do when you're not running?
My schedule is crazy, actually. So I'll get to that question, but like a normal day. So I get up at 3 a.m, start just before 4 the marathon, finish kind of 9:30, start work almost immediately after, finish work 6:30, go to bed at 7, and then start the whole day again. That's basically my routine. So I don't really have time to do anything other than run or work. And so I work for the same organization I'm raising money for. So they're called Hope for Justice. They're an anti-human trafficking charity. I'm an internal communications manager there, and I've been there about a year and a half.
What does that involve? It sounds fancy.
Bit of speech writing. It's communication to our staff, basically, about important things that are happening in the organization, celebrating wins, making sure that we're taking care of staff well-being, looking at engagement, looking at some of the ways that we can support staff so that we're making sure that their views are heard and that they're happy at work, basically.
And do your colleagues know what you're doing?
Yeah, I get bored of talking about it at work, but yeah, they're proud of me and they're very supportive. Yeah.
Luckily, I don't know anything about human trafficking, but is it a problem in the UK too?
Yeah. So I think a lot of people don't realize, they think maybe modern slavery or human trafficking is something very, very far away. It's happening in every single country in the world. So it could be people who are exploited in terms of child marriage or forced to sell their bodies for sex, or even just exploited in terms of forced to work, and then they have their passports stolen if they come to the UK, for example. So sometimes it's quite hard to track or kind of investigate, but it might be that they're working for someone. Physically, it seems that they could leave, but if they've got their passport stolen, maybe they don't speak English quite so well. They're a little bit scared of going to the authorities. They might be physically threatened. That's why it's kind of modern slavery. They're not physically chained anywhere, but effectively it's very hard for them to leave, and perhaps they don't want to go to the police because then they'll get sent back to their country. And yeah, it's horrible conditions a lot of people work in, and there's around 50 million people trapped in modern slavery in the world. So it's a huge issue, and not a lot of people kind of are aware of how big it can be. It's also quite hard for people to get justice and kind of for the times that they have been exploited. So yeah, it's a huge thing that I'm passionate about, and if I can raise a little bit of awareness around it as well as funds, I'd love to do that. So yeah, that's why I'm raising money for the organization.
What does your specific charity do? What's their main role?
Everything. So Hope for Justice work right from preventing human trafficking from happening in the first place to supporting victims and survivors of human trafficking. So we work in countries like Ethiopia, Uganda, US, as well as the UK, supporting them to kind of get justice and get on with their lives. And then also working with governments, businesses, and the general public to try and change laws and just help survivors get the justice and make sure that this just doesn't happen, right through from preventing it to seeking justice when it does happen. Yeah.
We mentioned before we recorded, sometimes we'll do a heavy pivot. So yeah, a hard pivot. Sorry. Yes. And now we're going to do one of those hard pivots. Why a marathon every day? Yeah. What motivated you to do this?
I think it's my dogs, really. My dogs got me into this. I think they realized there is no actual record for consecutive marathons run by a dog. So they wanted to beat it or set it. No, they're super energetic dogs. They love running. I did one marathon race with one of my dogs, and I was actually so surprised how she just wasn't tired at all. She was just going around everyone at the finish, asking them to play with the ball and everything. I was spent, but she wasn't. She just didn't care. So I thought, actually, I think I could do this quite a lot with my dogs. And they just wouldn't get tired. And then I saw two women in Scotland, Faye and Emma. They're from Match My Workout. They broke the world record for women in consecutive marathons. They did 106. I think it's been broken since then. But at that time, I remember watching their videos, being really inspired by them, thinking this is really tough, but a fun tough that I want to do as well. So yeah, they inspired me as well for me to want to do this.
And was it always the plan so you could get a record with your dogs and then you could get a record too individually, or is everything bundled together?
I actually wrote to Guinness and said, can you set up a new record, which was most consecutive marathons run by a dog? And they rejected it. They said something like, I know, ridiculous. They said something like, we cannot ascertain whether the dogs would be doing this of their own free will or something, which was kind of ironic because my younger dog actually submitted that application. So like, but I think they're worried about, because when people say you're running a marathon every day with your dog, unless you've got a working breed or a dog that you know runs and loves running, you might think that's cruel, especially if you think, oh, you're doing a Mo Farah pace and you're doing it on the road and you're dragging your dog along by the lead. You could easily think that's cruel. That's not what I'm doing at all. But if that's in people's minds, they might think that. So I think maybe they didn't want to encourage more people. But that's fine, because we'll get the record and then no one will beat it. So.
And do they always want to go? You know, Rex, my goodness me, he loves a run. But there's some days I have to give him a little bit of encouragement to come outside. Yeah. Has there ever been a day when they didn't want to go?
No, my dog is my alarm clock. He gets me up at 3 every morning. One of the dogs, they've never looked outside and said, you know, it's too wet, it's too rainy, we're not going to do it. They're both northerners, my dogs. I got them from up north, so you know they're tough. Not a southern softie like me. No matter what the weather, they want to go for it.
I'm just trying to think how do you have the same route, or are you kind of alternating between half a dozen routes?
It's pretty much the same route. Because we live near, although it's London, because it's near Epping Forest, we do have a lot of kind of trail near us. So we're quite lucky in that respect. So we can do different versions of the same route, essentially. I can kind of run north from my house and only go over a few roads, and it's basically trail the whole way. So yeah, I do feel very lucky. We've done a couple of races, canicross races, with the kind of dogs on a lead. But yeah, usually it's the same route in London, unless we go somewhere else. If I need to go somewhere for an event, I have to take the dogs with me, because the kind of rule is that we're doing, you know, the dogs have to run every marathon with me. So I'll look for a B&B that accepts dogs. I'll take the dogs. I'll run a marathon in the morning, then go to the event. Sometimes it's interesting, but most of the time it's just where we live.
And what do the locals think? You know, imagine you're that crazy guy with the 2 dogs every morning.
You probably don't see him. He's out at 4 a.m.
Yeah, do you have any feedback from people you bump into quite often?
It feels like Groundhog Day, because it's the same day, seeing the same people at the same time, having the same conversations. At the moment, yeah, most of the run is in the dark during winter, so I see a lot fewer people. We probably see the same foxes and hedgehogs at the same point. Can't have quite the same conversations with them, but or at least I can't. The dogs probably do. A lot of people are very supportive, and they get used to seeing us. I'm sure there's still some people thinking like, I see him every day. What is he doing?
I love
it. Maybe I think the same as them. Maybe they're running a marathon as well, and I don't know. Never know.
It's like sliding doors.
Yeah. I'm
not trying to compare my Dragon's Back race. I thought I'd get that in. But I just remember the amount of admin I had to do physically, you know, packing again, but then also the eating, the nutrition, that side of things. I'd recover well enough to go again the next day. Yeah, what is your like nutrition regime or everything like that? What does that look like once you finished your marathon?
Okay, this is something I think you might be able to help me with, because this is something that confused me. The first 2 months, I lost about 11 kilograms, something like that. Drastically lost weight.
Yes.
Since then, it seems to have plateaued. My watch says I burn around 3,000 calories every marathon.
Yeah.
And while I don't calorie count, I'm pretty sure I don't eat more than that. So I might even eat less than that every day. So what's going on there? Has my body just adapted to a ridiculous amount? Because I'm pretty sure I'm eating at least equal, but probably less than the calories my watch says I'm burning every day, and I'm still alive. So what's going on there?
I think it has, exactly like you say. I think it has adapted.
Your body is just so. We must have adapted it to life like that as cave people, mustn't we? We must have been able to.
Because ultimately you would just fade away. And obviously we don't. I think Candice, she did the ultra marathons for, oh my goodness me, how many days? And yeah, there was a before and afterwards. And there's a dramatic weight loss. But yeah, when you think of the calorie deficit, the maths just don't add up. So yeah, I think you're right. You've just adapted. 11 kilos, what's that in pounds? That's like 2 stone, isn't it? Pretty much. Is that right? 11 kilos, about 2 stone?
You put me on the spot here, Gary.
Yeah, it's 22 pounds, isn't it?
Oh, say not quite 2 stone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's a lot of weight.
You must be getting it right, though, Aaron. You must be getting your calories in and calories out right, because you're able to turn up every day. And I'm quite interested, when you started this, did you find the first couple of weeks tough? Did you have DOMs? Were you tired? Were you thinking, I can't do that?
Yeah, so I didn't do any preparation. I just started. So
Was it January the 1st you started?
No, it was December 17th. It was when it was snowing in London. 18th, I think. Yeah, I just went into it. The first 2 weeks were horrible. I deliberately took time off work from that time because, yeah, the period getting used to that was just insane. And I slept basically after each marathon for quite a while because it was tough. I remember the only prep I did actually was like a 6-mile run. Like 2 weeks before, and I thought, yeah, I feel fine, I'll be all right, which is not the best preparation for continuous marathons. But after that 2 weeks, you kind of adapt and your body gets used to it. It's just a process of adaptation, really. I have been quite surprised how capable my body is of doing things, even if you ask it crazy things. Like, I'm still exhausted when walking down the stairs. I have to hold the banister, and in the evening, I'm really exhausted. But I can still run a marathon each morning, so must be doing something right.
Do you focus on pace or anything, or are you just getting the miles done?
I've done different challenges within this. One of them, which I haven't done yet, is just to get under 4 hours. I've got 4:03 or something like that. I'm not going to attempt again in the winter, but if the summer comes around again and I'm still doing it, I'll get under 4 hours, I'm sure. But usually I'm not worried about pace. It's just get them done. Because what I found is, and you mentioned DOMs, if I do try and do a faster marathon, 2 or 3 days later, I will really feel it. You can still get DOMs while doing consecutive marathons. Yeah, the record isn't about pace. It's just about completing them. So as long as I complete it before my first work meeting, then I'm okay.
Have you had some work meetings where you've been like, oh?
No comment. In case my manager's listening, no comment. But
and
you might be right.
What sort of documentation do you have to do for the Guinness World Record? Because I remember this when I followed Candice as well. Like, that took up a lot of time. Was the documentation of everything?
Yeah, so I did all the documentation up to about when I did surpass the Guinness World Record. But now, because the unofficial world record is 607 and the official one, at least when I was looking at it, was like 70 something, I'm just concentrating on the unofficial one. So previously, I had to collect witness statements when I started and finished. That's quite hard when you start at 3 a.m. You've got to get video evidence of all your runs. They also say, I've spoken to a number of different people that have done similar things, and it seems to be different for everyone. So you think that one of the advantages of having an officially ratified by Guinness is that everyone is doing the same thing. But it seems that's not true. Some people had to take photos of every mile. Some people, they were quite insistent. You had to have a race number. One person I know, they said, instead of witness statements, you can just film the whole thing. Like, that's a lot of video. Film it on low res. I assume
you just going, oh, for God's sake.
Who's going to verify that? Imagine that, watching a year's worth of marathons.
Exactly. Who's going to watch that? I assume you press pause if you need to go to the bathroom or whatever. But yeah, lots of people doing different things. So I did all of that evidence up until whenever I went past Guinness. I can't remember the number, 60 or 70 or something. And then since then, I've kept doing it. It's all on Strava, but I haven't done the witness statements and everything. But that has allowed me to enter canicross races with my dogs. Whereas if I did it the official Guinness route, they might say that's dog assisted. We can't count that one. Okay. And then I'd have to do the canicross marathon and then another marathon after, which I thought, no, I'm not going to do that.
So you on day 366 today?
7, okay.
So we're almost, my gosh, did you celebrate your year anniversary?
I try not to celebrate. So, for 200, she'll hate me mentioning this, by the way, but my sister made me a trophy and I said, I can't accept it. She made the trophy, she made 2 dogs and everything and 200. And I said, if I accept that, it's like I've finished. So I can't accept it. But she was like, but I made it for you.
Oh, yes.
I was like, well.
Such a brother thing.
And then for 365, my dad drew a picture of me and brought it in a big frame and he brought it to the finish of 365. Here you go. And I can't accept that. Sorry, I'm still going.
Oh, wow.
I'm so ungrateful. I know. I'm very harsh. I don't feel like I can celebrate at the moment because then it would feel like I've finished. Yeah. And I never want to feel that until I have.
Well, you've got to stay hard, haven't you? You've got to stay strong. You've got to stay focused because you step out of that and it's over. So I can imagine you need that mental straight line. Shall we jump into some Patreon questions, Gary?
Well, I was curious. You asked about, sorry, one more before witness statements. Oh, yeah, you mentioned
witness statements.
You mentioned witness statements. I'm curious, did you have any company, or have they pretty much been solo plus your dogs?
Weekends, sometimes I can start a bit later, and it's been really cool running with a few different people, but it's usually maybe one or two people. I would hate the kind of Forrest Gump thing, and the exception was 365, and that was great to see everyone. But if I'm such a massive introvert, if that was like it for every single day and I had 30 people running with me, I wouldn't do it. I like the time to myself and my dogs. And actually, I really like that time in the morning when I'm just with my thoughts and I can just think about work and kind of de-stress. I wouldn't like it if it was like a big bunch of people joining me each time. So keep that for the big milestones, but otherwise I quite like running on my own.
Yeah, it would completely transform it, wouldn't it, if you had company all the time? Patreon, do you want to go first, Eddie?
For sure. Susan Wilson, she's a big fan. First of all, wow. How on earth do you plan and calculate the kit, volume, and footwear? How many shoes will you be going through? Thinking of foot care, have you tried and tested routine? Good luck with the adventure. Yes, how are your feet, basically, I think she wants to know. And what trainers are you wearing?
Feet are fine, actually. I haven't been through many trainers. Can you guess how many you think? How many trainers would you go through in a year?
Or Gary?
I would say I'd probably do about three trainers a year. If I was buying them myself, 3 trainers a year.
Yeah, that's good. Four trainers. Yeah, I give you that one. Yeah.
What's your trainer of choice, Aaron?
I'm not going to answer that just because I'm trying to get sponsorship. So I don't want to say a brand and then actually I'm with someone else. Sorry.
Fair enough.
And no blisters, nothing. Your feet must be pretty hardened off.
So one of the different challenges that I did is something called 7 Deadly Sins. Because I'm running the same route all the time, I did try and make it more interesting. So I did 7 different challenges, which I called the 7 Deadly Sins. And the idea was to basically commit that sin during the marathon. For the sin of pride, I did a barefoot marathon just because I did feel quite proud that I didn't have any blisters, or maybe like half a blister, lost no toenails. So I did a barefoot marathon and shredded my feet during that one. Yeah, I'm not going to do that one again. But since then I've worn shoes the whole time. Yeah, they're shoes with the ultra marathon ones. They've got if you're a heel striker, you've got very heavy support on the back of them. And if you're not going fast, I don't need the most expensive shoes that they wear. I just use any of them, really.
So you battered your feet, and that was pride. Were there? We can't go through them all because all Gary wants to know about is lust, I'm sure. What else did you do for the other sins? Give us a quick resume.
My female dog is in season at the moment, so that's kind of a lustful marathon because we've got male dogs chasing her each time when she's currently in season. That might be a lustful marathon. No, so the other ones, I started with gluttony, and that was I had to eat a full-size chocolate bar on every mile, so 26 chocolate bars. Yeah, it's a fun video if you want to watch that on Instagram. I made it. Just about. Then, the pride was the barefoot one. Roth was kicking a football the whole way, which I managed to do. Although that got boring very quickly. That was a tough one. Greed, I did a park run immediately after the marathon, just to see how fast I was.
Clever.
Tried to run that one as quickly as possible. I can't remember which sin this was, but it was a weighted vest marathon, or a 10-kilogram weighted vest, and tried to run with that. Doing the same route every time, it can get boring. So just there's ways to make it more interesting and more challenging. Why not? So if any listeners have any other ideas how I can make it more interesting, apart from something absolutely crazy, like hopping the whole way, please let me know.
Okay, we got another question from a Patreon. Becca Canal. This is insane. Yes, Becca, it is. I'm just about to adopt a dog who hopefully will become a loyal running companion. He's a pointer cross, so it looks promising. What do you need to consider when you are training with dogs? What extra do you pack? And how do you build their endurance? Is it just a case of getting them out running with you? or do you need to think about extra nutrition as well? Yeah, I don't, to be fair with Rex, apart from poo bags, there's not much I do because we don't run that long anymore. But yeah, Aaron, different story for your dogs.
Yeah, they've kind of got used to it, so I don't really take anything with me. I think the most important thing is fun. If your dogs are having fun with you, then it's so much easier. If you're going for a run and you can tell they don't hate it and you're kind of telling them, come on, it's not going to be fun for the dogs. They won't enjoy it. I did at the start take some kind of treats with me, and especially in the summer, I would take water with me as well. So I run completely with them off lead. That just really works for me. But if your dog you're scared of it running off, I would do a little bit running off lead, a little bit running on lead, switch that for a few times. Yeah, and take some treats with you at the start. I think the main thing is encouragement and fun. If your dog loves running with you, then it's so much easier. But yeah, good luck.
What do they eat? What's their daily diet like?
Recently, I gave them some venison, which they absolutely loved, but it's so expensive. So I think that might be a treat. No, they don't eat anything different, really. They eat 3 times a day, just a mix of dry and wet food.
Same as mine. Mine have 3. How many meals does Rex have? Mine have 3 meals a day.
2, he was getting a little chunky, so we've cut his... You see, that's because I keep giving him lashings of butter with some toast, yeah.
What?
Gives me those dog eyes. I can't say no to him. But yeah, 2 little cups of dry food. Or if we've got a treat, if we've got the butchers, I will indulge him with a few sausages too. But other than that, yeah, pretty standard stuff. Highs and lows. Yeah. Have you ever nearly quit?
I did quit.
Okay. Wow. All right.
Yeah.
For how long? For 5 hours?
Pretty much, actually. It was day 170. I can remember it just like yesterday. Yeah, I did about 5 miles, a mixture of running and walking. I just did not have it. I really tried to keep going, but I just couldn't. And it's like sitting down thinking, I think this is it. And then trying to keep going, sitting down again, trying to keep going. After 5 miles, I came back home, put on social media, this is it, sorry, world record attempt over, I'm a failure, whatever I wrote, I don't know. I had a bit of a sleep, ate a Pop-Tart, woke up, and my 2 dogs were staring at me saying, get back out there and finish this job. I felt a bit better. Went back out there, had to start the marathon again and did it. It was a slow one, but I think sometimes you just need a little bit of a rest. Like, what's the thing with ultra marathons? Try not to quit where you're at an aid station. Because once you're sitting down and you feel like it's so much easier there. But if you get back out there, keep going, you'll get a second wind, and in a few miles you'll feel better. So yeah, I'm really grateful that I did keep going. But yeah, on that day, I just had enough.
Amazing resilience, Aaron, to get back out there and post it out on social media.
Yeah. And then there was another day where I got food poisoning. I threw up about 6 or 7 times during the night. I remember going back to my bed, it was like 2:45, and I thought, like, in 15 minutes I've got to get up and run this marathon, and I was super sick. But yeah, I still did that one as well. That was my slowest one. That was just a little over 6 hours because I was so sick. But I think those are the days as well when you're proud of yourself. You keep going and you manage to get through. I think I'm glad I had them, because now I feel like however sick I get, I know that I've done perhaps even worse conditions. And if I can get through that, then I can get through anything.
Oh yeah, experience, especially negative experiences. Yeah, they're great strength to draw on when the chips are down.
So I had kind of a question, because this has made me think a little bit. You often hear the wisdom around never train when you're sick. You see that quite a lot. What I've realized when doing these marathons is, while physically that might be true, I've gained so much mentally from training or doing the marathons when I am sick. And it's kind of mirrored maybe the second or the latter stages of an ultra marathon. When you're throwing up, no food, you can keep down, you feel awful, your legs are trashed. When we do recce's for a race, we try and get the perfect conditions, wear exactly the bag that you're going to wear at the time of year, etc. But it's often like, if you feel bad, don't train. But now I'm thinking, if you feel a bit sick and you can't keep anything down, is that not the perfect time to train? Because you're going to have those conditions in the race. Should you not do that? I don't know. What do you think about that?
Well, yeah, I wouldn't personally. Yeah, I would probably modify. I don't think back, I can think back, my goodness me, over the however many years I've been running, and I've not really missed much training for sickness. I would still run, but yeah, maybe I wouldn't push myself during a run. And yeah, definitely with training in adverse weather, I can definitely agree with that. I wouldn't pick and choose the weather I go out to run in because, on the event, it could be absolutely dreadful. So you need that. I think I need to draw back on that. Oh, do you remember that day when we were climbing Hillville and it was 60-mile-an-hour winds? I just need that in the tank. So, I definitely wouldn't push myself if I was poorly, but I probably would run regardless. Yeah.
I'm never going to encourage anybody to run when they're ill or sick because there's other factors involved, isn't there? You don't want to get iller. You're not going to get fitter by training when you're ill. You're probably going to take a downturn if you train when you're ill or sick. Being sick, you're obviously not going to get the calories in, so you're going to look at injuries, you're going to look at getting further ill, you're going to then potentially wipe yourself out even further. There's lots of reasons why you shouldn't, but then, as you said, Aaron, sometimes you just feel a bit tired, or if you feel little bit sick, you don't really feel like it, and those are the times you're right when you're like, I'll be all right. I'll go out. And actually, sometimes you do feel a bit better as well when you actually go out and do it. And then if you're like Gary, you can be a hero and tell everybody that you still did your session when you...
I said I wouldn't do my session. I'd still run, but I wouldn't push myself. But you're right. It's amazing. I never thought that, the challenge itself was actually mind-blowing. But then there's those outside factors which you don't bargain on, like the sacrifices, like socially you're not going to see anybody, but then you might get food poisoning, and something totally unconnected to running can totally derail the best laid plans. It's super tough. Have you got any particular high points over the past year?
I think my high points are my low points, but just like pushing through them. My good days are the horrible days, the days when I'm throwing up everywhere and I managed to make it. Like if I had a so-called good day and the tunes were on and the sun was shining, that's a rubbish run. Like what do I learn from that? Nothing. It's too easy. There's the good side and the bad side. I think I'm more mentally resilient now. I'm much better with my time and time management, because sometimes I literally only have a 5-minute window to do something, whether it's at work or elsewhere, and I have to do something. Whereas before, if I had 5 minutes to think, okay, maybe I'll send an email to someone, maybe not. Now, if I've got 5 minutes before a meeting, that's like so much time. I know I can do so much within that. Negatively, I think I'm probably more judgmental now, actually. So that's something I've realized. Maybe I'm a bit more judgmental when perhaps I shouldn't be, but I'm placing myself in that situation where I can't quit. And so my mentality at the moment is anytime I think about being sensible or taking care of my body, it's just like, no, carry on. Don't even think about it. Don't have that thought.
Yeah.
And that's my mentality, because if not, the whole challenge is over. So it's just working out, okay, that's for me, but maybe don't do that for other people, because that's completely different.
Did you think you would be still going now?
I have no idea that could keep going for now. And it feels like now that I am keep going, if I could go back to myself in day one, maybe I'd be a little bit harsh to myself. Like, stop doubting yourself. Of course you're going to do this. Don't even have those thoughts.
I can only imagine like a tiny, tiny % of the drive that I've needed to do really hard stuff or train for really hard stuff. You're doing that every day, day in, day out.
That's not true.
You can't let that noise. I know what it's like to have that filter, to not let the noise in, but I can't imagine doing that every day. So it's incredible. What's the plan? Where's this going? This is the mum side of me speaking. So come on now, dear. How much longer are we going to be doing this for? What's the plan?
I want to do this for as long as possible. I think I keep on doing it. Then I'll hand the world record over to my kids. They'll keep doing it. I'll hand it over to their kids. They'll hand over to their robot, because robots will have taken over by then. Yeah. They'll hand it over to their pet robot. Yeah, this will never be over. That's kind of my mentality. Just keep going. And I don't really want to set a target in mind, because then if you have a target in mind and you complete it, you think, well, I could have done one more. So then why didn't I?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Maybe there's something said for having a goal that you're never going to reach. But yeah, the goal is just to keep doing one more.
That's amazing. I think I'd have to have a finish line. Would you, Gary?
100% brick. I'm feeling a bit uncomfortable thinking about having a goal that never ends. Yeah, that would blow my mind.
But don't you do that anyway? You finish one race and you want to do another race.
Yeah, ultimately, but I need a bit of time to decompress in between the two. It's that's just how I'm programmed. But oh my goodness me, it's like one of these people who do the backyard ultras. as much as that is seductive, especially now when the bar for the Backyard Ultra is being raised so high. I'm super scared to find myself on that start line. Yeah, the mentality to keep going again is pretty wild. Yeah, I don't think you should be so hard on yourself, Aaron. Yeah, it's super impressive, and shining some light on a worthy cause too, and raising some money along the way. And my goodness me, yeah, if I could do something like that with Rex, I couldn't think of a better companion. Awesome.
I'm trying to imagine, as you were describing it to me, Aaron, I was trying to imagine like how I would fit that into my day. Like in real life, I was like, I could do this, so I could get up then. But then the thought of the bedtime, that my would be the worst mother known to man at bedtime, because I'd already be in bed asleep before they'd finished football club.
Well, I can make a 5-minute job last 2 hours. I would fail on day one. My organisation skills are terrible, absolutely terrible. Should we do the quick five?
Yes.
Okay. The big questions. Oh, I've only got 5 this week. Okay, controversial question sometimes. Are your dogs allowed on the furniture?
I think the question is, am I allowed on the furniture? Because my dogs just hog the furniture. They've already decided. So
yes.
Yeah, of course they're allowed on the furniture. Yeah.
I had to move chairs yesterday because I was so desperate for a cuddle with Rex and he just wasn't having it. So I went to Rex. Honestly, the hierarchy in our house is totally out of sync. Okay. If you were going to, it's like a little spin on the marathon tour question. This one, they used to, how fast could you do a mile if you trained for a mile for 6 months? Okay. The day when your challenge is over and you were training for just one marathon, how fast do you reckon you could do it?
I have no idea, because I've only done, I think, 2 marathons outside of this. It's an interesting question, because now I feel I'm a lot more mentally resilient and probably ambitious now than I was previously. But it's hard to tell because I'm not physically at my peak in terms of pace. I'm slower now. I'd like to think I can do 3:30, but beyond that, who knows? It depends. If it was my goal for a year and I just trained for it for a whole year, then maybe sub 3, but I've no idea. So I don't know.
Does Strava, do they do that predicted times? I should check that out, see what... I think it's probably.
But my average is 5 hours, so you've got almost everything saying 5 hours. So my predicted marathon would be 5 hours, probably.
Okay. Next question. Now, you don't have to share who this is, if there is anybody, but yeah, do you have anyone famous in your phone contacts?
I don't think I do. No.
Yeah, me too.
Sorry.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, we're going to rewind to your teenage years. What posters are on your wall?
Mariah Carey. I had a framed, an orange frame of Mariah Carey, and I took it down when my girlfriend at the time came around, so that they wouldn't have like a fight over it or something. So neither of them would be jealous. But yeah, it was a Mariah Carey poster in my room. I remember that. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Still got it. She's still around. Mariah.
Wow.
This time of year, she's everywhere.
This time of year, that's true. Oh, and I like Bret the Hitman Hart as well. I was into wrestling.
Oh, yes. I wondered who that was. Yes. Instagram story music time. Every week we share the podcast over on Instagram, and you get the choice for our Instagram story music. Aaron, what's it going to be?
I would choose Holy Wars by Megadeth. I don't know if you've had any.
Oh my
heavy
Lord,
metal,
that's like made my year, Aaron. That's the best.
Oh, really? It's got a nice drum section, the first 20 seconds or so.
How do we go from Mariah Carey to Megadeth?
It's the story of my life. Yeah, I've progressed a bit, but yeah, if you could play that would be amazing.
Yes.
If there's Mariah Carey in the background, you could maybe do a duet somehow.
Oh yeah, some sort of Megadeth. I'm sure there's a mishmash of that. It goes well together.
Have you ever seen them live?
Never, no.
Oh, Aaron, come on.
Well,
make it happen.
I've got no time.
I was going to say, when's he going to do that?
Good point. Oh, wow, that is like literally the best song all year.
Can I ask one more question? It's quite deep, this. But when you say you're not sure when you're going to finish, as we're coming to the end of this podcast, are you scared to finish? Are you scared to come back into the real world and the switch into this not being all encompassing? Do you not think having a finish line in place would help that transition rather than it being forced upon you by something out of your control.
It's in a children's playground. It's that thing that goes really, really fast and you're on it. What's that thing called?
Roundabout.
Witch's hat.
Well, roundabout or witch's hat, whatever it's called. It's like that. So it spins really, really fast. And even though it's going crazy fast, you're fine as long as you stay on it. As soon as you get off, you start wobbling around. And I think that's kind of how I feel. Yeah, I definitely am scared. It's become like my identity at the moment is running marathons. So if I didn't do that every day, like, who am I? I don't know. So yeah, I'm a little bit scared, and maybe Eddie, it would help me. But the fear again is, well, if I had that number, let's say it's 500, pick a number, would I always think, but I could have done 501. So then why didn't you? And that would annoy me. So I think.
But then taking ownership of it might help it finish, rather than it being more annoying that you were forced to finish.
Yeah, I think what I'm going to do is I would like to have like a DNF at the end of it. So either you attach a big race at the end of it, like a 200, 300 miler, or a backyard ultra, or you do something where you progressively increase the mileage. So let's say you do a big number, then you add 5 or 10 miles on each day, and then you keep going for as long as you can. I think having something like that would help, because then I definitely feel like, well, I literally couldn't do anymore because I've got to the end now.
I've got to go to work.
I've got to go to work. Oh yeah, exactly. I don't know. It's just, I don't want to set a number and think, why didn't you do more? That's the only thing.
I wonder if it's worth reaching out to people like, Candice, and was it Achana over in Australia, did all those marathons, just to see what it was like, life after the challenge.
Yeah, I spoke to both of them, well, like on Instagram. Candice did something, she's continuing her run streak as far as I understand, but she kind of tapered a little bit. She was sensible about it. Whereas I think I'm not going to be sensible. If I stop, I'm just going to stop. I'm not going to go down 20, 15, 10. I'll just stop.
Yeah.
I think she did a sensible approach. I'm not sure about Akana. Yeah, I'll do my own thing,
anyway,
whatever it is.
Yeah, do your own thing. Keep doing it. Keep showing up 3 a.m. every day. God, when I wake up, I often wake up at 3 a.m. I'm going to think of you now, Aaron, and think, oh, I could get up and run a marathon, or I could cozy down for another course.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, best of luck, Aaron. And you have a wonderful Christmas, actually. You're our last guest of 2023. Yeah, best of luck.
Lovely to meet you. Best of luck. We'll keep following. Keep us posted on how you're doing.
Thank you, I will.
Thanks, Aaron.
Take care.
Amazing. I struggle with a 40-minute run in the morning, Gary. I'm like, I'm not sure I'm bothered that. I do not know how 3 a.m. he gets up and runs a marathon every day. Such a tough challenge, such a big sacrifice of your life, basically. He can't have much time for anything else. But yeah, and as we kept saying to him, there's no finish line. You and I would both massively struggle without the finish line.
I just can't comprehend it, full stop. And I think he mentioned it in the interview that challenge itself is physically hard enough, but how much it impacts everything else, that would take its toll. I think, Lisa might have wound it up pretty quick.
After a day. I know as well how useless I am after my long run. It pretty much wipes out the whole day, a 20-mile run. And he does that day in, day out. Right. Well, there's a link to Aaron's Instagram in the show notes if you want to pop over and give him a follow or give him a bit of support. Thanks so much for coming on the show, Aaron, and keep us posted with how 2024 goes.
Tales from the trails, and surprise, surprise, top of the charts. Here's Aaron Robinson, 183 miles, no sign of stopping, mega consistent, 183.9 miles. I don't want to shortchange you, Aaron. And time on feet, Aaron tops the charts to 36 hours, 55 minutes and 35 seconds. Jack Oliver, I saw Jack had popped up on my social media that he completed a winter unsupported midwinter Bob Graham round. Woof. I'd love to know the deets, if you can like put a goodie bag somewhere so you can pick it up on the go, what the unsupported means exactly. But well done, Jack. There's not many people do a midwinter Bob Graham, full stop. Those numbers are pretty slim. 27,369 feet heavy.
I saw that Henriette John Alban's wife, had broken the winter supported Bob Graham round. So I must message her and ask her to come on the podcast and tell us.
Smoking fast.
Walking fast.
Did I mention I completed Bob Graham round?
Shut up.
So I've got an idea, the kind of speed that she was running at, moving at over that ground, and it just, it's wild. For me, for someone in my level of fitness, I just think, oh my goodness, how could you do that and sustain it for that amount of time? Super, super impressive.
In the dark. Well,
yeah, there's not much daylight that time of year.
Yeah. Yep. I'll give her a shout out and see if she'd like to come on the podcast. Hi, Gary and Eddie. Hi. This is a few years old now, but the memory is still strong. We don't mind. We love any Tales from the Trails. I ran the Moab 240 in 2018. Woof! A single stage, 240-mile race in central Utah in October. Quite a tough race, distance, altitude, climbing, hot deserts and cold mountains. I have some great memories of the race, but the strangest one was before it even started. I'd like to do this race, Gary. At registration the day before, there was no kit check for the simple reason that there was no mandatory kit. But the schedule did list a medical check, which made me a bit nervous. What if they decided I wasn't fit enough to do it? I needn't have worried. They set us down in groups of 4, an odd way of doing a medical, I thought. Just one question, said the event medic, Christina, to our group of 3 guys and a girl. Have you shaved your balls?
Excellent.
I know what Gary's answer would be. The honest answer was no, but I got worried. What if we were meant to shave them? I'd never done more than 100 miles. Maybe this was a thing that ultra marathon runners did. Cautiously, I admitted I had not, nor had the others, not even Julie. Poor Julie. Happily, this was the right answer, and we could go on to pick up our bibs. But I was curious. Why ask the question? Christina explained, at her last 200-mile race, one guy with a history of painful chaffing in the meat and 2 veg department during ultras had tried to preempt the problem by shaving, and that worked for about 24 hours. But 200-mile races aren't over in a day. As the hours passed, the stubble grew, and so did the pain. He staggered into an aid station, weeping and begging for medical assistance. Not what I'm here for, she replied, handing him some cream and pointing to a tent. Pretty sure he never made that mistake again. I'll see Eddie on the start line of the Winter Downs 200. No, you won't. And I hope neither of us have shaved our balls. No, I haven't. Thank you, Stuart, for that lovely story. And it's quite appropriate for our general chit-chat of this.
I had a lot of shaving chit-chat. I remember shaving my chest for the Dragon's Back race. Because it was irritating. I think my hydration vest was irritating me. So I shaved my chest, and that wasn't great. Over the week as a group.
Guys and girls, pre-race shaving down. It's never. Oh, I always shave my legs before a race because I don't know why. I think that's going to make me faster, like a cyclist.
Really?
Yeah. That's the only thing I do.
Is that a triathlon from your triathlon days?
Maybe it's that, but it's all I remember. Well, anyway, no, I'm not going. I'm not being that girl. Anyway, we love reading your Tales from the Trails. So if you have a story that is going to be shared, or if you sent one just before Christmas, please resend it because we've lost it. hello@tntrails.com.
Great company to run with. Dragon Lord 777. Oh, that is a heavy flex on your
Dragon Lord, and he listens to the podcast. You should get him on.
Dragon Lord. I discovered your podcast a few months ago, and now I'm working my way through the back catalogue. Gary and Eddie are fantastic hosts, and it was their fun and humour that first got me hooked. They talk with true honesty about their own experiences, trail runners, warts and all, and although their own achievements are truly inspiring, they remain down to earth. The podcast is not only packed with really useful tips and information about trail running, it's very entertaining. Thanks for that, Dragon Lord.
More on the entertainment side for this podcast, this show, rather than the actual any use to anybody. But
we edit out all the diva moments too, so we do come across as really down to earth and relatable.
Sue Wilson. Oh, Eddie. Thanks. You should send that in.
I'm not happy about this, Sue. I know, Sue. This is, I'm not...
Oh, maybe she gets through Gary. Episode 51 had a bit of everything. Just loved your interview with your guest Hugh. So did we. What an interesting listen, inspiring and such a laugh. Could imagine running along with him and the miles would quickly pass. Really loved hearing about women-only races and encouraging women to run, feel safe and have every aspect covered. Brilliant. As always, every day is a school day and top tips learned and thinking back over the years to key phrases I love. Be kind to your future self. And Eddie, your voice is often in my head when I'm trying to push on downhill. Trust your winter treads. You compared changing your car with the winter tyres. I did. That was quite a long time ago. I love it and it makes sense and helps me focus, which helps me to relax. So I will end as I started. Eddie, Eddie, Eddie. Ooh, ooh, ooh. There's only one Eddie son. She didn't actually write that, but I just gave myself that. The lad from Wingate is okay too. Simply love, appreciate you both and everything that is tea and treats. I love tea and treats. We should have tea and treats. We should have more tea and treats. We should bring them to the podcast when, you know,
could be a section.
Like, you know, like a Friday, someone brings cakes. We should have tea and treats. What's your treat today? And I could pop to the boulangerie and eat almond croissants while you.
I tried we watched a program, you know, like the inside the factory programs where they show you how things are made. Well, there was is it a McVitie's digestive where they do the white chocolate ones now? And we were seduced. And Lisa went on a trip around pretty much all the Northeast to try and find. And she did. I can't remember which shop it was, but yeah, she brought some back and we've devoured the packet.
I bought for Bryn at great expense some chocolate hobnobs over from Britain and gave them to him. Because we can't get them here. He opened the packet. He took two to have with his cup of tea. He went and fell asleep on the sofa. While he was asleep, the children ate the rest of it.
Oh, monsters.
That is like unforgivable. They not only ate that, but then they also found a packet of Twiglets. These guys, my kids are animals. Found a packet of Twiglets. Again, contraband. You can't buy them here. Bryn had bought them back. Decided they didn't like it. So to open the packet, had to
because they're so much more precious. They're so much more precious with the journey they've had. I love a Tunnocks wafer biscuit.
What are them little cakes? The
tea cakes, Tunnocks tea cakes.
Oh, a Tunnocks.
I think it's a day. 7 million a day they sell of the wafer biscuits.
Just for Wingate.
Just in Wingate, TS28, yeah.
Right, that's our tea and treats section added.
We've had a little makeover over on Patreon. Everything where the tiers so far that are there are exactly the same, but we've added a couple of more tiers. Yeah, we're work in progress, so they might evolve and grow. But yeah, a few people reached out and asked if there was a way they could support us higher than the current Patreon tier. So yeah, we've added 2 more tiers. I'm not comfortable about talking about money, so I'm just going to leave it there. But yeah, you do get some extra perks, and we're going to do some giveaways too. I think everybody above the legend and above Patreon tier, because we do with these, you might have noticed I'm doing a few YouTube reviews lately. There's only so many pairs of headphones Gary needs, so things like that we maybe can, or if somebody does reach out to us, a brand, and they would like to do like a Patreon giveaway or something like that, then yeah, we will share them with our Patreon community too. So if you're interested, yeah, pop over to Patreon and check it out.
What's coming up? What's that coming over the hill? We've got a few more days. We've got, what day are we today? We're recording on a Wednesday. I've got 5 more days of this Christmas holidays to get through.
But do you find well, obviously you're still in it, but I feel like Christmas has come to an abrupt halt on Tuesday.
Yeah, it's because, wasn't it? It was Monday, was New Year's Day. Lovely day. We had a lovely day. Tuesday, Bryn exited the building, as he does. Yeah. His alarm goes off, 6:30. He's out the door. Oh, to be Bryn. Makes his flask of tea, his toast. Off he goes in his lovely heated seat car. Bye. Have a lovely day. I am left with Christmas. The house was wow, everything everywhere, stuff everywhere. Evie got many little bits of like how to make potions and glitter thing. You know, when you're an 8-year-old girl, that's all you want for Christmas. And not Play-Doh, Fimo stuff. Oh my God, it's everywhere. But they're still on holiday, so I don't want to be like, I want to just get a big black bag and just go Christmas in there, but I'm like, I've got to keep it going. We've still got the tree up. But yeah.
My kids' body clocks have changed. They're like, George is going to bed at really, really late.
It's, oh my gosh. Well, we have to keep getting ours up to go skiing, but then they're not going to bed early enough.
Yeah.
And so it's a cycle of general.
It's super hard for us to place it because Lisa and I like to go to bed quite early. So we don't really know what's going on.
Oh, what? They're still awake when they go to bed.
Oh, goodness me. Yeah. He's Xboxing. So yeah.
Yeah, because yours are that bit. Mine are that, but basically they go up to bed and then like 15 minutes later, Brid and I go, are we done? Can we go to bed? Yeah, so we're just I've got to put Christmas away. It's sad. Get everything back. We've got this Christmas bag that goes back. I know.
Don't like it.
Back to where we've got to take our tree down to our garden centre where they're going to compost it and then make it into fuel.
We don't just fly tip it inside of the road.
She explained it all to me, and she'd given me a ticket so that I can take the tree down. I was like, "Yep, normally I just tuck it in the river, and I really enjoy watching it." So down the river. Is that not the right thing to do? Clear up. I've got to clean this. Oh my gosh, this house. There's better things to do though, isn't there? So I will. Yeah, I'm hoping to get out on my skis at the weekend for a nice long randonnée. Hopefully, going to get out for a run. I need a bit of help actually, Gary, because I need a pair of road shoes, which I don't have. But if I'm going to run on the treadmill a bit more over the next couple of months.
Are you looking at some like for your long run or?
Yeah, I want just an everyday shoe. I don't want a carbon or no. I just want an everyday shoe.
If I was going to go out and buy a pair of shoes tomorrow, it would be the New Balance 1080 version 13s.
Okay.
Some people find they're a bit bouncy. I absolutely love them.
New Balance 1080.
1080 version, whatever the latest version is, 13.
I don't bother normally because I just have my trail shoes and I just wear those for everything. But and I just wear my old ones on the treadmill because the grip's gone on them. I was thinking if I'm going to do more treadmill running and if the snow doesn't come, I have to run on the road rather than on this icy trail. So I was thinking, do you need something? Because trail shoes just don't quite have on the forefoot enough cushioning because you don't notice it unless you run like just on the road and then you're like, oh yeah. So that was a question. Thanks for that, Sandy. We'll talk next week about what we're going to do in 2024, shall we? I feel like I need to just get back on it. But the week started well. I've done my strength, done my first strength, done some runs, done some couple of hard turbos. I'll just repeat that pattern until I can breathe again next week. What about you?
Well, yeah, just trying to get back on the horse. The Garmin training plan has 3 quality sessions and a long run, so it's quite intensive. But that'll be my gold star week. Well, maybe not because, you listen to Simon Roberts and this guy wins races. Too much for someone my age. So I'll probably look at the 3 and do the 2 I like the sound of the most. And again, this time of year, I did the 20-20-20 yesterday and it was pretty rubbish because I had to cross a busy road and then because time's pressed, I had to go and see my dad. So I did the end of the first 20. I went to visit my dad for half an hour and then I carried on. So it wasn't an ideal workout. It was probably a C+, but I did it at least. And then, maybe on the treadmill for the other workouts because it's just not great running on the streets until the weather picks up a bit. But just trying to focus. I'm feeling pretty motivated ahead of Manchester Marathon. But it's just the grind, nothing sexy, nothing too entertaining, just rinse and repeat. That's me. I think because the terrain will be predominantly road, I think my mileage will increase quite a lot, quite quickly, but then the elevation is going to suffer too. We've got a little Strava challenge going on with my friends to try and get 400,000 feet of elevation for the year. But I've exceeded my challenges with free Strava. So I need to become a paid member to join that club or group or whatever it is. So I can look, I can't touch, unfortunately.
Story of your life.
But that's it. That's it for me.
I thought I'd give you a little French lesson every week.
God,
you can learn a little phrase, Gary.
Oh, no. Come on then. Merci. Thank you.
Au revoir. Écoutez le podcast.
Now you need to say it in English.
Oh, thank you for listening to the podcast.
Oh,
thanks for tuning in. Thanks to Precision Fuel and Hydration for sponsoring this week's show. Don't forget that you can get 15% off using the the code capslock T24, 15% off, thanks to our partners and patrons too. We couldn't do this without you. We honestly couldn't, and your ongoing support. Guys, it's a new year. It's a new you, but you know that doesn't mean anything. All you need to take with you is our mantras. Be kind to your future self, breathe and believe, and progress, not perfection. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, and give us a share. Oh, and don't forget to vote for the National Running Show Podcast Awards.
Well, it will be over when this goes out on Friday. Today is the day. So yeah, thank you to everybody.
If you haven't voted, shame on you. If you haven't used your children's emails or got your children to vote, shame on you. Now you can hang your head.
Oh, wow. Just to, I've said it before, just to be nominated blew my mind. And we are going up against some big, heavy hitters. But yeah, thanks everybody.
Harry, come on. The other podcasts will be going, there's no way we're going to win. We're up against Tea and Trails.
True. Should back myself more. But yeah, you're all awesome. We hope you have the best of weekends and best of luck if you're racing. Yeah, races are happening already. And we hope you have a wonderful, genuinely, Eddie and I both hope you have a wonderful 2024. Whatever you're doing, keep sharing those pics, and why not listen to the UK's #1 trail runner podcast, and then warm yourself up with your favourite brew. Have you done the biscuit brew yet, Eddie?
I would rather have a bath of baked beans than
get out of town.
Yeah.
It's not every cuppa. You shouldn't have it every cuppa, but now and again it is yummy. Anyway, my name is Gary Twits.
And I'm Eddie Sutton.
And that was episode 53 of the Tea and Trails podcast.